I'd say that that UAB will be our toughest challenge to date. Combination of the team that we're going to play and the environment that we're going to play in. I'm very excited about playing in this series against UAB. I think our fans appreciate it from both schools, and it's a renewal of a rivalry that the game should be played. Obviously, I get a lot of questions as to, we got a lot to lose and not as much to gain, and I just disagree with that in the sense that UAB's basketball program, the men's program, has been ahead of our program for many years, and I recognize that. I also recognize the quality of the league that they play in Conference USA. You don't have to look any further than what Middle did to us last year and what they did last night against Ole Miss. And Middle's picked to finish second behind this UAB team that returns, virtually everybody from a year ago. Again, looking back at last year a little bit, it was one of our best wins a year ago because we beat a really good team and a really experienced team. And now I know in the preparation for this game, UAB's looking at us going, gosh, it's a brand new team again. It's a completely different group. So and looking at them again, they've got 2 losses to 2 top 15 teams in the country, Kansas and St. Mary's, and actually played really good basketball for large stretches. They spotted Kansas a 20-point lead, or Kansas took a 20-point lead, and then they really played well against them for the rest of the way. And UAB and Middle Tennessee State are both postseason teams, and both got a chance to actually make the NCAA tournament, I think. So that said, our challenges are going to be handling the physicality of the environment, because it'll be really hostile. And although I am looking forward to the fact that we're going to have a great Auburn contingency in Birmingham, so it's going to have that tournament flavor and atmosphere. And there's a chance that our youth will show in that game more than any to this date, and so that's why you kind of play them. So we're excited about it, but I know we got our hands full. Yeah, Rob's got his own personality to it, but Coach Haas was a great offensive coach. I think they play good defense too, but the stuff they run is hard to guard, and Rob's kept a lot of it and fits his personnel really well. It's definitely a team that you'd like to have a lot of time to prepare for because they do good stuff, and it's hard to guard. And so, yeah, I think it's a similar preparation.
One that's about T.J. Dunnan. Is he sort of still trying to find his role in this team for this season?
Yeah, I definitely think he is. There have been moments during the course of the season where, TJ's been really, really effective. We don't beat Texas Tech without him, period. But again, in rebuilding this program, the personalities, the makeup, the chemistry, the culture of our team has changed dramatically every single year because of how the roster's turned over. And so now TJ finds himself as one of our leaders and a veteran player who is trying to help us blend in 3 really talented freshmen in Jared, Mustafa, and D'Angelo. Now I've got T.J. Dunnans coming off the bench because if I would start him with Mustafa and with D'Angelo, there's three pretty strong offensive weapons, and in bringing him off the bench, there's a chance that I'll have 2 of those 3 players out there on the floor, so I can put him in situations where we can utilize his talents, so on and so forth. But he has been inconsistent. He has struggled some. But the good news is I think he continues to try to find his way. And it's just not easy. It's not easy because he's had to, he's still trying to find his niche, so on and so forth. The good news is we're in a really good position right now where he hasn't played his best basketball yet, and he's one of our best players. And that's exciting if we can get there. Same thing with Bryce Brown. We're 5-1. He hasn't been able to shoot the ball very well, especially the last 5 games. Obviously, it's mental, and that's something I think he definitely can overcome. So when we start to get, T.J. Dunnins and Bryce Brown are 2 of our more talented players. When those guys start to play better, we got a chance to. That's how you continue to become a pretty good basketball team. We're not there yet.
Bruce, obviously, Chuck, this past offseason went through the process with UAB for that opening. I apologize, I'm going to ask you to talk for him, but do you feel like he got anything out of that? And 2, quite frankly, is he ready to be a head coach? And it's just a matter of getting the win total to get him noticed.
Well, Chuck is clearly ready to be a head coach. Harris Adler is clearly ready to be a head coach. Chad Dollar is ready to be a head coach. Stephen Pearl is ready to be an assistant coach. Jordan Verhulst is ready to be an assistant coach. So there's definitely, my guys are definitely ready. The more success that we have, the better chances I think that our guys can move to really good opportunities. But we've got to turn this corner first, I think, in order for that to happen.
You talked about Bryce, just from a shooting perspective, is that one of those things where you just say, hey, keep doing what you're doing, and they're going to fall sooner or later?
I would say that that I have not lost 1 ounce of confidence in Bryce's ability to score the ball, shoot the basketball. And the fact that Bryce can be a great defender and a great shooter give him a chance to be a really important player because he got a chance to be great at both. And so, but I would say too is that he does need to continue to take better shots and not shoot his way out of, any kind of let's say he's in a slump like right now. Like for example, if Mustafa Heron's shooting, 51% or 52% or whatever he's shooting, and he's only shooting a shot or 2 more than Bryce per game, that needs to stay the case or even change. Mustafa needs to shoot another shot or 2. Bryce needs to shoot a shot or 2 less. Now, when Bryce starts making shots and you get a bit of a heat check, then you're looking to go at it a little bit. But he's got to get out of that. First, can't shoot whatever it was. Last game was 1 for 7 from 3 or something like that. And there were a couple of balls that I wish we had back.
Bruce, we asked about rebounding so much. Is for you just the main thing that you guys limit second chance points?
Yeah, it's an issue. Horace Spencer and LaRon Smith weigh 430 pounds together. The kid they played against the other night weighed 300 pounds by himself, and so, Coakley is a load. I mean, he's an absolute load in there, and they've got some, so is the big kid, 21. So rebounding will definitely be a factor. I mean, UAB is going to hit us in the mouth. They play hard. They play physically. When you're playing an undersized power forward in D'Angelo, and both D'Angelo and Anthony are both freshmen at power forward, and you're light at the 5, and you're small at point guard, it's, we're not the most physical team. And so it's definitely an area that we have to improve on.
Bruce, you mentioned it Tuesday night, but it's interesting that you mentioned the difference between the stats and what you're actually seeing with your eyes. And analytics is so much into this game now. But you said, look, I can look at a stat sheet and say, hey, according to KenPom, we're top 100 in defensive efficiency, but I'm not seeing that out there. How do you balance those two?
Well, I think take the first 4 games, we held our opponents to about 65 points. Right. And in the last 2 games, we gave up big numbers, and that can't last. It just can't last. So what were the areas that hurt us? Obviously, defense and rebounding, and long shots, long rebounds against South Carolina State. 51 points in the second half. 3 games in a row being outscored in the second half. So those are areas that we got to focus on, and if we're going to be able to be successful, something's got to change in that regard.
Bruce, obviously there's a lot of attention on Dangel, which is his scoring. Obviously, he was leading scorer in your team heading into Tuesday's game.
Right.
Do you think his passing gets overlooked? I mean, heading into Saturday, he's 10th in the SEC right now. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is in 4 of our first 6 games, we played against a lot of zone. And so in those games, we got the ball into Dangel in certain situations where he was able to be a bit of a playmaker against the zone. Slips and getting him into the high post area, so on and so forth. Against more traditional man-to-man teams, you know, that may not be the case. However, in his matchup, he is able to break his matchup down off the bounce, which then puts him in a position to be able to drive, draw, dish. He can score. He certainly get to the foul line and does a good job at the foul line. Great matchup between him and William Lee on Saturday. There's really good matchups all over the floor. I really like this UAB team. I really do. UAB and Middle are going to have quite a battle this year in that conference, and yeah, they're really, really good. And veteran too. Gosh, just get everybody back. Now they did lose their point guard early in the year, and that probably speaks to why they lost the first game against Furman. But boy, after that, they're good.
What are the benefits of the Auburn UAB series in terms of creating interest statewide?
Creating interest statewide, it's important. I think the quality of basketball in the state's getting better. I think the coaches and the recruiting and the interest, but it does bring attention to it. Part of the reason why I wanted to play, was willing to play in this series, was to be able to get our team up to Birmingham. We've got great fan support in Birmingham, and we're going to have a good crowd up at Birmingham. We're going to go back and play Middle in Birmingham next year. The following year, we're going to be playing this UAB team back up there. So 3 straight years now, I've got a game on the books in Birmingham. And I think it's important for our program, Auburn's program, to be able to play throughout the state. Is it possible that we play a game at Huntsville? Is it possible that we play a game in Mobile? It's possible. And so I'd like to try to do that. And it's a renewal of a rivalry. I mean, this was a good game. That was a game that folks, they talked about these games before the Iron Bowl. That didn't UAB and Auburn play before the Iron Bowl? What a cool thing that there were folks that talked to me and remember. Well, we did it last year. We were able to play pretty close to that time. So it's close to the time frame.
Very good. All right.
Thanks, guys.